I know you'll all get that button you got to click to say it's okay. All right. So placing my hands on my heart, taking in that deep breath of love and gratitude, that breath where we know that all is well, that we are one, that breath where we trust, we have trust, we allow the goodness to come to us. We're calling in all of our earthly and heavenly angels to surround and support us during this conversation, especially the technology angels in this moment for our precious sister Mary Lee. And we're grateful to know that we are walking with mighty companions during our conversation here, and asking that those mighty companions bless this call, bless each of us here, bless all those who will listen later. We're so grateful to be able to gather each week, to come together to talk about the teachings of A Course in Miracles and how we are living this life of love, and how we can walk each other home through this journey together. And we're grateful to share the blessings that we receive on this journey from each other and the entire world with everyone, because we are one with them. In grace and gratitude, we let it be, and so it is. Amen. So we are in chapter 31, section 2, walking with Christ. And for those of you who saw the posting of this on Facebook this morning, that picture is a picture of my father the last time he and I walked at Passcode State Park on the beach before he passed away. And so as soon as I saw the title, I imagined that walking, him and I used to have these deep conversations. And one of his favorite singers was John Prine. Taking a Walk was one of his favorite songs. So you can see how I was like so associating it with that. So anyways, so yeah, chapter 31, section 2, walking with Christ. And just the first few sentences were so jam-packed full of goodness today. So I'm going to start us off with that. An ancient lesson is not overcome by the opposing of the new and old. It is not vanquished that the truth be known, nor fought against to lose truth's appeal. There is no battle that must be prepared, no time to be expended, and no plans that will need be laid for bringing in the new. And this brought to mind, of course, lesson 135, if I defend myself, I am attacked. But also the Martin Luther King comment or quote about hate cannot conquer hate, only love can do that. And also the Gandhi quote about an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. So, you know, there is no good reason to attack anyone. No good reason, no matter what it appears that they have done or said. So that's where I'm starting us off. Go ahead, Carla.
There we go. Okay. Actually, go back to the next line from what you wrote. There is an ancient battle being waged against the truth, but truth does not respond. And it talks about in the second paragraph that to review again what stands between you and the truth and of what you are, really, the truth of what you are. It says there are steps and it's in this relinquishment. The first is a decision that you must make. We make a decision, but if we don't take an action step And it's just a decision. Thought is just a thought until we believe it. And that's the action step. So, and it goes on. I can't tell you what, like each time you think you must decide on anything, neither is true, nor are they different. That for me, because illusion is just illusion. It doesn't mean anything. And if there's not two decisions to make, really. There's only one. There's only one truth, one, and this, what I think is true is love. And that's, we think we can decide something else, but it's not real. And it says, yet we must see them both before you can look past them to the one alternative that is a different choice. And I will admit that I didn't get much past this reading. I was just kind of sitting with that. And I realized something, this came to me, that you are the truth. What me, you are the truth because we are one, you know? So it seems like I'm staying with this family in California, and they're really sweet. They cook me food. They haven't asked me anything. They're very gentle and kind. And she loves to make smoothies about stuff that I used to judge that I didn't like. And you know what? I drink them almost. I think it was, I still haven't gotten past but I drink everything else, and because what I focus on is not the taste, not how my tongue is. It, I feel her love that she puts in when she makes it. That's what I focus on. What you focus on grows, and I don't like it. I don't prefer it, whatever you want to call it yet, but I drink it and I'm disliking it less, and that's the key. You can't see the truth because it's blocked by the illusion of the world, the stuff that we learn, how to tie our shoe. I mean, you got to navigate this world form, so how to pay a bills, that you have to work hard and to do something to deserve to be treated. No, that is not true. None of that is true. Truth is, it's always been there. And I'm just recognizing what I focus on is what, I mean, there's so many inputs in this world, in this world form. I mean, the one thing that we believe, we focus on that, and then we attach to some judgment or whatever about that, not liking the food. But there's so many inputs. The body has so many things for us to choose from. How we feel, what we hear, what we see, all these inputs, they come to us all the time. And then we choose what we decide to focus on. It's understandable that it's so many inputs that we're having this form experience, and what I have, I don't know, learned, just remembered, maybe am focusing on more diligently is to look beyond all the inputs and to focus on the one that's most helpful. And that's the truth that has always been true. And that is love. And that's why I speak about it all the time. I forget. I'm the same as you. I'm having a body experience. I'm not. I mean, this is the same thing as like Jesus. Jesus, when he healed people, it seems like they have to choose, they have to decide, but he connected with them and beyond the illusion, directly to truth. When you connect to someone directly through truth, we feel it. We notice it, and it's an aha, or whatever. It's really, but, and at times, there have been times I'm like, oh, I'm not being heard, I'm whatever, it's all ego, but trying to get to me. But that's not true. It's when I can align with, when I can connect with truth more fully, no one cannot hear me. It's the true self of them. They can choose whether they listen or not to that. It's true, but it's the true self is, it speaks to the true self. And so I'm grateful to have this opportunity to practice remembering how to do that, because we know how to do it. That's what we all are. But we've forgotten because the world teaches us this and teaches us that. And look, we're not bad because we learned that stuff. We just are great learners, sponges. Children are sponges. They just soak up everything. And there's too much, maybe. So now I'm just focusing on love. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity to practice that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Carla. Yeah, it made me think of too, I remember reading, it might have been in the last section that we read, something about, you know, God did not create an opposition. God did not create peace because there was no need to create peace because there was no war, right? So in reality, the war and the peace are two sides of the same coin, and that really love is all that there is, and everything else is fear. Ego is fear, you know, war is fear, lashing out is fear, and it all came from our believing that there could be separation, but there is not. There is not separation. So that cry for love is just a fear that we have created separation, that we've been separated from God.
Can I say one thing? It's like, if there's any love, everything is on a spectrum of love. So it's either a lot of love or we don't believe the love, and it's just, I mean, it can't go away. It never goes away. It's just a teeny piece of it. And so we're all on living every moment on the spectrum. And we get to choose where we want to go in the spectrum. That's really amazing. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. He also says, though, that there's no degrees. So there's love, period. End of sentence. There is love, period. End of sentence. And when we're not feeling the love, it's because we have believed a thought that is not love, but it's not true. Who else would like to share from this week, or something that came up this week, or something they got from our reading? We're all quiet today. Go ahead, Kathy.
I just want to say I was reviewing it a little bit here, and this whole thing that what you see in your brother is really what you want for yourself, and this kind of thing. And you know, I'm in such a quandary. I'd love anybody to make comments, because I actually left a group that, you know, is so sad. I know I've mentioned this before. It's a big thing to me. I don't know whether I can reconcile whether walking away could be done in a non-judgmental way. I mean, maybe I like to pretend, oh, I'm sure it's just non-judgmental, but I doubt it. You know, I found that, you know, week after week for years, you know, that there was things that were disturbing, and then I would leave and and be disturbed. You know, one of the quotes somebody says is, don't hang around difficult people. But in a way, if my ego's in charge, everybody will be a difficult person because I'm in my ego. So anybody that wants to state about this whole thing, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. I totally get it. And I think I have mentioned in here before that I, over this past year, had a real struggle with that because I had a relationship, a very close friend, that we had a falling out and the relationship ended, and I kept trying to fix it, and I kept trying to fix it, and I kept trying to fix myself because I had those thoughts that if I was a better student, if I was a, you know, better spiritual student, if I was a better spiritual teacher would not have walked away from this relationship. But finally, what I came to after it got drilled into my head several times was, you're not separate from your sister. You're not separate from anybody in that group, even if you physically walk away from it. What you were realizing is there is no need for that physical relationship anymore, that you are one in your heart. At least this is what my understanding is. I am one in my heart with my sister. My sister is where she is. I am where I am, but we are one in heart. And I love her unconditionally. But does that mean that I have to be in a physical relationship with her? And that's a no for me, because what it feels like when I'm in that physical relationship is that it is encouraging parts of my ego personality that are not healthy. And so what I know is that my sister is not doing anything to me. It is myself that has those buttons that can be pushed. And so do I need to keep going to where the buttons are pushed? Ow, that's hot. Ow, that's hot. How many times am I gonna walk up to the flame, stick my hand in it and go, ow, that's hot, before I realize, don't put your hand in the flame anymore. So, you know, that's what it feels like to me. You know, does it mean that I don't like fire? No, I think it's really cool. I love to sit and watch a campfire, a fireplace. I could do that meditatively for hours, but don't stick your hand in the fire. Who else would like to share? Catherine.
Yeah, I was going to respond to Kathy as well, because certainly I've been, well, we've probably all been there if we're honest. We have those situations. Life just allows us to have this training ground, so to speak. And so my most poignant one, I guess I will say for me, was somebody in spiritual community. And she proved to be, I mean, I'll label it. The judgment is that she was a bully. And I felt bullied. And I was sad. And I felt bad because I was being attacked. And then, now this took me a little while. I'm not telling you this just slipped away. But I just really journaled a lot about this. I certainly talked with other people, spiritual counselors, etc., to get a perspective. What was going on here? And in my head, I knew that this was a mirror. This was showing me something. And I had a resistance for a while, because where in me was the bully? Where had I bullied? Where had I been mean or unkind to another? And I just really had to look at that, and I didn't really want to. So I'll tell you, I just kept at it, and I went to my toolbox. And so I did the release and clear on this person. And it finally dawned on me that this was a cry for love. And at first I went, this is a cry for love, that I needed to love her. But I also needed to look right here. The forgiveness I was doing was out there because I did my forgiveness letter. I did a big one. And I still had and that's where I really came to, oh my Lord, I took it personally. And I didn't see that there was something for me to learn right away. Now, what I came to, Kathy, on this was that she was never going to be my best friend, so to speak. And I have no need to go and be with her, around her. I don't need to make the so-called amend because I have done that in myself. And I can big time see the cry for love that she is. And so what part of me is crying out? So I just speak that because that one was so deeply painful for me. It hurt. I felt rejected. I lost my sense. I mean, I really lost my sense of not who I was, but that I wasn't worthy again. I felt rejected. So I really had to deal with a whole bunch of garbage. And not to say that it's gone, but I have a better perspective and an idea of when this happens to me again, if it does, oh my Lord, I know, oh dear, get out your toolbox and go to work because it's never out there. It's always right here. So anyway, that's my observation from my own perspective, Kathy. I hope that helps a little. It helps me to speak it out. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. Grace.
Thanks, Catherine. And it seems like that happens on our journey, even when we think we're making progress.
Yes.
Happens to me. I think I'm making progress, and then wham, something just knocks my feet from under me.
Yeah.
And I realize that the work is ongoing.
Yes.
And what Kiran J told me was when I once had an incident that was very, very fearful for me, and I was so terrified I had done something wrong that I didn't sleep a whole night. And she told me that is just a fraction of the fear we feel in our subconscious for what we think we've done, and to expect it'll come up. And thank goodness that we have our toolbox, Kathy, that we don't run away from it and we do our healing. But I just wanted to share with you about attack and defense. And it is wonderful. It's a great feeling that you don't need to defend yourself. And I actually quite like it when people attack, because I'm like, I have no reaction at all. I just look at them, and I don't feel like it's attack. I just feel like this person is doing their own call for love. And I think I told you I was at this July the 4th party where this woman started to have an argument with me about the wolves that were at Yellowstone. And I just watched a documentary on it, and I was talking about how the local farmers are very much against them, blah, blah, blah. No, she knew better, and she knew this. And I said to her, you're probably right, And about 2 minutes later, she was saying to me, no, you're probably right. So and it just tickles me so much how silly I have been in the past to defend a position on something. Stupid. I mean, it's ridiculous. Anyway, so I stayed with my daughter for the last 3 weekends while I was working down at Stanford. And she made quite a few attacks on me, and I recognized myself in her, because we'd both been through our family breakup, and it had been emotionally very difficult because I was here without a visa, and my ex-husband was talking about taking the girls back home to his country. So it was very, very hard, and I didn't do very well, and that's okay. And but I know there was a lot of pain in the family around it, and she attacked me quite a few times. And some of them were very legitimate. So instead of the one was, instead of her saying, Mum, you're on your phone too much, she said, because of this and blah, blah, blah. She went into this whole emotional thing. And she looked at me and I just said to her, I get it. That was it. And she was looking at me, waiting for me to respond. And I'm going, I get it, period. And the next day she said, Mum, I appreciate the fact that she said something like, Mum, have you got your phone with you? And I said to her, what do I need my phone for? I couldn't resist having a little joke there. And she said, just in case I need to call you. And I said, did you notice, darling, that I actually have been leaving my phone behind? You know, she said, yeah, Mum, I really appreciate that you heard me. And it happened a few times. And so I know she's very critical. And I know she tends to see the cup half full. And I see myself in her. And it's just a call for love. And I looked at myself and I go, well, where are you? And yeah, I'm critical too. And I see my cup half full as well. So like Kathy, get out my toolbox and clear all that junk out. And the one that got me finally in the end, that really did budge my peace, was she kept saying to me, Mum, remember I told you about that yesterday? And I mean, my memory is pretty good. She did not tell me about that yesterday, but never mind. I must have heard those words about 10 times while I was staying with her over the 3 weekends. And the last time I heard them, I was so upset. I felt like she was testing me for dementia. And I was ready. So I thought, okay, I went to my room and I cleared it all out and I felt the anger and I felt ticked off and I'm like, she's wrong. And anyway, I cleared out all the anger that it brought up and I was very grateful. I thought, wow, this was hiding really deep down and I was ready for her. So the next time I was going to hear her say, remember, I was ready to say to her, darling, the 6 words I never want to hear again. Remember, I told you about that. Remember, I told you about that. I was ready with those, no energy behind them, just good. But she didn't do it again. She just didn't do it again. So I'm ready with those 6 words. But the truth is, I needed to clear that out myself, that I thought maybe my memory isn't as good as it used to be. And well, it is, because we're all omniscient. And we have the power of spirit with us and the supreme intelligence of the one intelligence. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Grace. Beautifully said. And while you and Catherine were both talking, I was going back to that image of John Travolta in the movie Michael, where he's in the field with the bull. Like, we just love that. Like, our drama queen egos are like, oh, I can't wait to get into this fight.
Oh yeah, we love to be drama queens.
Yeah. And thinking about, I saw a quote about the measure of a true Christian is not that he loves Christ, but that he loves Judas.
Yes.
Knowing that Judas had that part to play and agreed with Christ before they came onto this earth to play that part, so that the message of the crucifixion, of the fact that there is no death and that there is nothing to forgive because nothing has been done. So, loving each one exactly as they are, including every part of ourselves, because we're all one. We're all
the same one.
Yeah.
Linda, while I have your on the microphone, with that relationship with that friend, you said something that you realized that it brought out with you something in yourself that wasn't that positive in the relationship.
Well, it was something from my childhood.
Oh.
Yeah, it brought to the surface the codependency that I had in my family from my childhood, because my dad was a drinker when I was a young child, and him and my mother, used to really go at it fighting and stuff. And so, you know, I would bend over backwards to try and make everybody happy. And, you know, it would bring that up in me. The fact that whatever, how I was responding was, how can I smooth this over? What can I do for you so that you will love me? And I was like, oh, hell no, you are not going back there, girl. You are not going back there, girl. So, you know, so I'm grateful that that came up and I could have that sense of intolerance for that. That I am not willing to sacrifice my self-love, my self-care, my, oh, what does Rosalind call it? Oh, I can't remember now. My self-preservation. I am not willing to sacrifice my self-preservation anymore.
Oh, thanks, Linda. That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's really helpful.
Carla, and then Mark. Oh, go ahead, Deborah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've had a couple questions that have been nagging me, and I'm just going to throw them out there. I'm not necessarily looking for answers, but I think they're good to reflect on. My first question I've been thinking about is whether you do Course in Miracles or try to practice a religion or other spiritual practice. Is one of the purposes to improve your life, or is the purpose really to just give you a way to cope with all the crap that we put up with all the time?
I think for me, the purpose is to remember that the crap is not crap, that everything is for my good, and that that everything that is put in front of me, however I am judging it, whether I'm judging it as good or bad, it is for the purpose of my good. So even that falling out with my spiritual friend, that we had been close sisters for nearly a decade, you know, it's hard for me to say that that was a good thing that we had that falling out, but at the same time, God, what growth that brought for me. And I'm so grateful to her for showing that to me. That's, you know, to me, it's just the truth that our brothers and sisters are our salvation. So
okay, thanks, Linda.
Yeah, you're
and then
welcome.
Another thing I've been wondering about is if you know, what is mind? I mean, we keep talking about mind and we throw it out that we have this understanding, but what is it really? And then the follow-up to that is Jesus just another consciousness within our own consciousness?
Yes, that is also my belief, that mind is consciousness, the consciousness of Christ. And we can seem to lean away from our Christ consciousness. But in truth, we really can't. And Christ seemingly manifested in form on this earth to show us the path to leaning away from the ego consciousness to back into the consciousness of God.
Okay, yeah, and it kind of solves that separation thing a little bit when you think of it that way.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay,
thanks for your
thank you.
questions, Deborah. You're welcome. Those were excellent. Carla. And then Mark.
I think kind of what we're talking about is what I was prompted to communicate, that it was shown to me that when I was having a peace, my life had gotten so peaceful, and then all of a sudden this turbulence came in, and I was told this. That's because I had moved up into another level of awareness. And so I was ready for those new challenges to help me just grow into the truth of what I am, really. But so that's really what you're saying about that friend, that when you saw that, and then you saw there was growth, and that's what I realized years ago, is that Spirit told me that really I told myself. But that I think how I used to say it is that I popped up into another level of awareness, and I was in the muck, and it seemed like I was in the muck and the mire, but actually I was in the growth place, and it's really the best place I like to be. Not all the time, maybe, but I'm willing to grow. I'm willing to grow. That's what I want to say. I wanted to kind of respond to what Grace said. Thanks.
Yeah, beautifully put, Carla. Thank you. Mark.
Yeah. Well, what came to mind when we're discussing these things when you're emotionally reacting to someone else is something that that maybe you've heard from, that Eckhart Tolle uses, which is the pain body. Do you recognize this? So the pain body is like, he describes it like it's almost like an entity in yourself, which is made up of all your the emotions, and thoughts that are not healed, and we have, my wife and I have used this also in our own relationship with each other, where we like, I mean, every now and then you get into a fight or something, or both of us or one of us gets upset, and then when we like talk about it afterwards, we can use the word pain body, and it's like, oh, it takes off the personal thing from it, makes it impersonal, and it's very helpful if you see your own emotional reaction, like, okay, that was the pain body, that's fine, we all have a pain body, it just came up, I'm sorry I said this, but, and then you just, that was the pain body. It's not that you take it as an excuse, but you like take it and make it more conscious. And so I think I don't, well, you should maybe listen to a talk about, if you don't know what I mean, but from Eckhart Tolle, but it's very helpful.
Yeah, Jennifer talks about, I don't know if she has ever called it the pain body, but like we have, like there's an emotional body, there's an etheric body, there's a mental body, physical body. So yes, that's exactly it. To just
And
reacting from that
yeah.
space.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about it is also that when you put words to it, that's a way to make something more conscious. So if you are used to like recognizing your emotions as, okay, there are these emotions again, you make them impersonal, and that's a way to heal this a little bit faster.
Yeah, neutral mind.
Mm.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Mark. Who else would like to share? Anybody that hasn't shared yet that would like to share? Go ahead, Mary Lee.
Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. I'm having trouble with the normal way of Zooming, so
Yeah,
I don't know if you can hear or see me, but I'm able to hear others and listen. I got COVID this week from two friends that got off a cruise, and it was kind of not what I mean, none of us ask for that. I'm sure there's others listening that have also gotten it. So when you're talking about the pain body, one's energy is suddenly overtaken, seemingly, at least this is how I have felt, by something that you didn't ask for, or, you know, you maybe were working with other parts of life that you were trying to make some gains on, and then suddenly, whoosh, whammo, this comes along. The one friend is not doing well with it. She's actually worse than myself. She got off a cruise and she has asthma, and she has been much more sick than myself. I guess in whether it's pain from a person or pain from a virus, I think I'm trying to say that it does seem that our lives are constantly going through one thing or another, challenging our core. And some people, of course, have, die from this challenge without being able to, recover and say, phew, I went through that. Well, now on to the next thing. I'm thinking of what Deborah was asking about, just different foundations that we ask into our lives to help us with that, because sometimes a person can completely lose themselves. I know this has happened to me, whether it's over a person or over an illness or a belief system that isn't making sense anymore and you don't know where to go. I think having the questions, and I still have many, many questions that I guess I would say as soon as I'm done fighting COVID, I would like to get back to thinking or having different ways of coping. When one is ill, it's not as easy when we have bodily things that are completely taking over our consciousness as far as trying to do anything else. I have no answers at all for that, but I am grateful for a group that talks about our challenges. And when one of you talked about a bully, someone in her life that was a bully and having all the answers, I don't think that we're necessarily looking to one another to have all the answers. I think as a one body, we're all working together toward just maybe knowing the questions and doing the best that we know how to be part of the Christ consciousness in this life. Hope that made some sense.
Yes, that made all sorts of sense, Mary Lee. Absolutely. And, Jesus says right at the beginning of the course that the course is not the only path. He does call it the fastest path, but who knows, that might have been his judgment or it might have been Helen Schuckman's judgment, that the course is going to be the fastest path, and Buddha said that life is suffering. And that is why the Buddhist goal is not to ever reincarnate again. Like, I just want to get it and then be done. But I don't know that there is a done, I don't know that there is we go, it's not like we're graduating from high school or college and then we're done. There's always a next thing that that seems to pop up. So enjoying the ride the best that we can through all of it, to me, seems very important. And I know that I may have talked about this a little bit when I came back from revival a couple weeks ago. I was just feeling like I was walking on cloud nine. And then I had an incident happen that felt like it brought me back to even how worse I felt physically before I went to revival. And Jennifer reminded me that what an opportunity that was, that Spirit made it so that I could be at that super healthy level in that moment, to see the repeating pattern that was next for me to heal. And I was like, oh, well, when I look at it like that, doesn't seem like such a bad thing, even though it sucked in the moment and I felt like crap physically, wasn't able to do the things that I wanted to do because I didn't have the energy for it or whatever. It's like, oh, God is so freaking smart to make sure that I was in that space of being super healthy in body, mind, and soul before that came up, that I could go, oh shit, now I gotta deal with this, but then be grateful for it, because I know that it is, it's for my good, it's for my healing, and it's for me to take a look at so that I can again become clear and what is mine to do, what is the most loving choice for me. So yeah, so I'm sorry you got COVID, Mary Lee, and I hold you and your friends in my heart and my prayers, and send all kinds of healing energy your way, knowing that divine perfection is unfolding for all of you exactly as it should. Thank you. Linda Kay, I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, I was going to say, excuse me. Yeah, Mary Lee, I hope you feel better soon. I'm still getting over it. And I usually rebound pretty quickly, but I still have to keep trying to get rest. And I know it's different for everyone, but I think I'm okay. And then all of a sudden, I just hit the wall in a huge way. It's like, oh my God. So I slept through part of Jennifer's class yesterday afternoon on the floor in my office because I just couldn't stay awake. Anyway, Linda, I just thought I'd piggyback on your story since everyone else's today. And I've wanted to talk about it, but I haven't talked about this. It's a little thing, but it's funny how little things turn into big things. And that is, I had gone out of town, and this was over a month ago, and a friend of mine had gone out of town to have a small surgery. And she sent me a picture while she was there at the surgery center. Well, what I didn't realize on the phone, it showed one photo, but there were actually like 8 photos. But I only clicked on one, and I was busy, and I made just a short, very quick comment. And then I came back from being out of town, had a couple of days of intense depression. Third day, these suicidal thoughts, went into, I have trouble with words, exhaustion. Yeah, I went into exhaustion, and I was just really struggling with that and overwhelmed with a bunch of other big issues in life. And also I was struggling spiritually at the time because I was confused as like, who am I praying to? So that question earlier today about Christ consciousness, and God, that was so helpful. Thank you. So anyway, my friend calls and she said, Linda, did you look at those pictures? And I said, well, I don't know, I saw a picture. And she said, no, I sent you pictures from the surgery center. Did you look at, and I guess I didn't look at them properly. And she said, well, I want you to know I'm very hurt and disappointed. You didn't look at the pictures. And I'm on the phone, I find them, I'm looking at them. They're just the waiting room in the surgery center. But my friend is very hurt and disappointed. And I just couldn't even speak, Linda, because I was having a moment, kind of like maybe a moment of epiphany of, if I tell her anything to make nice, I think this will be like a quintessential codependent moment. And I thought to myself, she knew I just had a suicidal bout. I'm in an exhaustion. I'm not my best self. But she wants to be hurt and disappointed about the pictures from 2 other weeks earlier. Like we were already done with that. And I just didn't know what to say, but codependent kept flashing in my mind. And I'm thinking, I don't even know why it's codependent, because I still don't even understand this whole codependency thing. But something about it feels like I'm supposed to make her feel better when it's her responsibility to take care of herself. There's no hurt and disappointed. There's some photos. I didn't see them. End of story. And I just said something stupid like, well, I would have thought you'd given me a hall pass or a pass on this one because I wasn't doing very well. Oh yeah, I knew you weren't doing that well, but I've given you other hall passes. What? And that was it. I could hardly speak, and I just said, I can't. I'm not my best right now, and I can't get into all of it, and I'm very sorry, and I just can't talk. I just can't talk right now. And then I think I did the Ho'oponopono on it because I knew she was upset, but I was upset because I thought, God, I'm always there for you. And she is there for me as well. But like, these were just such vastly different situations. It'd be like I'm going through chemo and you want to get upset about a photograph. It just seems so disproportionate in my mind. And maybe that's not even the right way to look at it. But what I did that evening is I sent her a heartfelt apology. I'm very sorry I hurt or disappointed you regarding the photos. That was never my intention. And for now, I'm going to have to step back and keep some distance until I'm feeling better. And so now, Linda, you can jump in with your thoughts.
Linda, what you just said, the very last things that came out of your mouth feels like the most healthy response I have heard you say. I'm so glad that you were loving in the fact that you apologized that you felt bad that she was hurt, but that you are taking care of yourself right now. You're not blaming her for anything, but you are not allowing yourself to be open to any attack. So
yeah, and the thing is, I think a person who loves you, it wasn't necessarily, I doubt it was meant to be an attack. Right. Unfortunately, my mind perceives most things as attacks. Yeah. It's very unhealthy. And that goes back to, childhood trauma. My dad was always the attacker, and yes, I was the terrified child of being attacked. And I didn't know these were like ninja attacks. Right. Never, my dad one day, one moment, oh, daddy. And the next, beat the smithereens out of you. And it was, it was a scary, but God bless my dad. He's passed on, and we're in a good place now, the two of us. And I talk to my dad more than I've ever talked to him. And now that he's passed, because I'm doing this work, and I can understand, I can understand his pain, and I can understand my pain. The thing with my girlfriend, I've known her more than 20 years, and she has a track record of losing friends,
Yeah.
primarily girlfriends,
Yeah.
like a lot. I do not have that pattern. I have very long time friends
Yeah.
who put up with my life nonsense and still send me love.
Yeah.
We may not talk every day, but it doesn't matter. And
Yeah. What it
so that
feels
was
like,
something,
though,
it
is
kind
this,
of hurt to think she would be going really hurting because of losing
right.
friends. And
But it
but I thought,
feels
I'm not
like,
responsible.
exactly. This feels like an opportunity for you to look at her, her role in your life is to wake you up to all of the places where you are not loving yourself. Like you
Yeah.
said, that did not feel like a loving response coming from a friend, knowing that what space you were in your own pain body,
Right.
saying that she was disappointed in you. So just look at it as an opportunity to thank her for pointing out to you the way that in the past you were not loving yourself, and now you are, because you said, I'm taking a step back from this relationship because you
Mhm.
need to take care of yourself. And that's, thank her for that in your
Mhm.
mind. Don't
Yeah.
call her or reach
Yeah.
out, but in your
Right.
mind, like, thank you for pointing that out to me, that I can be a loving presence for myself and in my own mind, in my own body, in my own life.
Yeah. And everyone's participation regarding your story, you've told it before, you shared it again, but we all benefited today and seemed to pull out our own similar stories. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to tell mine
Yeah.
today because I'm right in the middle of it, and she's tapping on me like a little text. You know, I love you, Linda, or
Yes.
sent me a little religious, Jesus, whatever loves you thing today. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I see her doing exactly what I used to do, which is,
Yeah.
I'll do anything to get you to love me again.
Right.
I love her very much, but
Yeah.
I don't, if I call her, it's going to be the psychoanalyzing
Again.
and the
Yes.
psychological breakdown of
Yeah.
every thought and thing I did. And you know what? I just don't
You
want
don't
to
need
hear
that.
it. I
Yeah,
don't care.
you don't need that.
I
Thank
like,
you.
I just want to move on.
Yeah, exactly. And you're
So
doing it.
thank you.
I'm
Yeah,
proud
thank
of
you,
you,
Linda.
Linda.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're
Thank you.
welcome. Gwen, and then we will wrap this up.
Like, it seems like we're all kind of having opportunities, Spirit's giving us opportunities, to look at ourselves and look at things maybe and try to figure out, because I have the same thing. What is the lesson I'm supposed to be learning? My daughter is staying with me, and I had to have a talk with her actually yesterday that there's a time frame, the end of September, and she has stuff in my garage and in my basement. So what did you decide? We moved her out suddenly because she didn't want to be with her abusive boyfriend, or, and that whole dynamic there. But she's been seeing him and talking with him since she's been here. So I have to, and I just said, Rose, I'm here to love and support you, whatever it is that you want to do. Maybe I would love to see you with someone who honors and respects and loves you differently. But if you would like to be with this person, that's certainly your choice. And this is hard for me because, of course, I want her to be happy and not be codependent. But it's a big thing for me because I do not like rules and being a heavy. And I have to stand in my own ground for my life and my space. And I have to say that's a really hard thing, especially when I have, my other two daughters, I think, are trying to be a little bit heavy on me and lay a bit of a guilt trip. And I've been finding it very challenging to stay firm, loving and supportive, but here's the boundary lines. And it's been really a challenge. So we all have them. And I just want to honor everyone. We're all in it together. We're all learning. And my heart goes out, to everyone, because we are all together in one. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Gwen. I'm just sending all kinds of love to you and Rose and your other girls. And God, it's so hard to watch our kids, like looking like they're going to drown in a moment and not just jumping into their rescue. So, yeah, my heart goes out to you. And I know what I know is that our kids have their own angels and guides. And so if you let go of her hand, her own angels and guides are going to catch her. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. What an excellent call today. I'm so excited. Next week, we will be again in chapter 31, section 3, the self-accused, which should be quite interesting. So I can't wait to read that one and see what it has to say and what it brings up for all of us. So I'm going to read the Pathways of Light insights for my lesson today, which is 235. God in his mercy wills that I be saved. And aren't we so happy about that? What God wills is what is true. What God wills is what is real. God is love, and love extends only love. We are all extensions of love, and only this is what is true. This is what is real. As we were created as love, we are still perfect and innocent. This is God's will. We are saved because it is God's will, and what is not God's will cannot exist. Our remembrance of this brings to our awareness the truth that we are love, immersed in love. We are safe in love, and this cannot change. Only love is real. Illusions of separation from love could never be real. That is why we are saved. In truth, we were never lost. In illusions of separation, we can believe we are lost. But as soon as we are willing to lay these illusions down, we will see that love could never change and be the opposite of love. Love is constant. Love is eternal. We are saved because we are love, and God's will ensures that this is true. Let me remember this today. When I stray to think that something other than love has really happened, let me return to remembering that only love is real. Remembering the truth brings happiness, joy, and peace. I will to align my will with God's will. I will to remember the truth. One of the central ideas offered repeatedly in the course is that thoughts do not and cannot leave their source. If their source is reality, they remain in reality. If their source is illusion, they remain illusions. If their source is love, they remain love. That is why it is God's will that I be saved. It is simply another way of saying that I cannot leave my source. To be myself, my true self, I must remain love as I was created, and which I am still one with. I cannot leave love. God is happiness. I cannot truly leave happiness. I can be unaware of happiness if I believe in an illusion of being separate, but happiness still surrounds me and remains what I am. Belief in illusion can make it appear that there is a force opposing the will of God. Most religions of the world incorporate this idea of a dark side that opposes God. This dark side is always engaged in battle, and God must be constantly defending against it. One of the essential ingredients for movies to be successful at the box office is that they must in some way incorporate conflict between the light and the dark. Without that conflict, it is not interesting enough to draw an audience. The ego thrives on conflict because conflict appears to make the dark side real. And so it appears in most religions of the world. I am not aware of any other teaching that says the dark side, the fallen angel, any seeming force opposing God cannot be real. Yet it is the recognition of its unreality that brings us freedom. It releases us from illusions so that we may once again know God's will for us is perfect happiness. We have never and could never leave our source. We remain in happiness, in love, in God, unattained by any illusion of separation or guilt. This is so because thoughts leave not their source, and I am grateful this is so. So am I. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you next week. Chapter 31, Section 3, The Self-Accused. Have a good week, everybody.
Thanks,
you.
Linda. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Well,
Love
thanks
to all.
everybody for your help.
Yeah, thank you. Bye for now.
Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.